What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your friendly neighborhood Michael BOOSE. We're not in the studio because we're driving back from a early screening of Baahubali the Epic, the new truncated cut of the amazing two-part saga by SS Rajamouli. This is kind of our rapid fire thoughts as it's late and we don't feel like going all the way back to the studio to talk about it. So for starters, very fun. I think coming out of it, we both very much were feeling the drive to go back and rewatch the movies again because it got us feeling that struggle of epic proportions that is Baahubali.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it just reminds you of all of the best parts. Like, all of the main story beats were there, all of the fights and everything. Like, they knew what they were doing with this edit because it's literally like, well, people like the fights, right? So we're gonna focus on that, and then some of the drama with the family and the love story and all of that. Like, everything was there. It was just enough to give you the taste that you were hankering after.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think this is, and I kind of said this in our short review as well, if you saw that and then boogied on over, that this is a really great bite-sized, quote-unquote bite-sized, is a 3 hour and 44-minute bite-sized way of enjoying the story of Baahubali, especially if you really like it. I think those of us that absolutely loved the original two-part saga, this is a great sort of rehash if you haven't watched it since its original release in 2015 and 2017. But beyond that, I think this is also a really, really great way to introduce people to that story if they don't feel like watching the whole two-movie saga, because sometimes that's a bit much to sit down for, sometimes. I mean, I'm always a big fan of, here in the US, the extended edition of the Lord of the Rings movies, and that takes some convincing to get anybody to watch if you're not already a diehard fan. So if you're wanting to introduce somebody to Baahubali and the story, I think this is a really excellent way to do it because, like Achara said, it has all of the hallmarks of the epic fights, the epic drama, the incredible slow-mo shots that SS Rajamouli really, really likes utilizing. I think that's great.
I'm struggling to pay. This is why we're stuck here.
A little behind the scenes. This is the cinema viarte of us recording outside of the studio. So, with all that being said, very, very fun experience. Super cool to get to see it in theaters. I don't get to watch a lot of these movies outside of the studio, so getting the full, loudspeaker screen as big as your eyes can handle experience was really, really excellent.
Yeah, so I think we've covered all of the good things about it.
Yeah.
So now, if you have never seen Baahubali before, you might want to leave because this is getting into spoiler town territory. So, you've been warned. You can skedaddle. And I'm sure most of you watching this already, you've already seen it. So let's chat. Let's spill the tea.
Yeah, so let's get into it a little bit. I'm going to be entirely honest. The first half of the movie feels really fast and like we miss a lot of the context. Basically, what I think Rajamouli was doing was he went, the first half of the movie, or the first movie isn't necessarily the one that people really come to see. The second one is. So I'm going to trim down to the bare bones the first movie to get all of the context we need to get into the second movie. And because of that, the first half of this feels just a little bit lacking in certain dramatic points and storylines that I remember really, really enjoying from the first.
Yeah, when the intermission happened, I turned to Michael and I was like, I don't know. It's just they're cutting out a lot, aren't they? It's going by really quickly. And for me, I really loved Tamannaah's character. I think it's Avantika.
Yes.
She was. I loved her, and I always thought that there wasn't enough of her in the first movie, and she was such a badass, and then she just kind of gets taken out of the movie, and this time round Rajamouli was like, yeah, Tamannaah, you're cute and all, but like, you got to go.
You're not the reason we're here. What I'm realizing is that, you know, we're watching two movies condensed down into one, and a lot of times you get one romantic arc per movie.
Yeah.
And the important romantic arc is definitely Baahubali Senior's romantic arc with the princess, because that, like, is kind of a big driving factor in the entire conflict of partially the first movie, but largely the second. And that's where, like, a lot of the drama kicks up and kicks in. So I think SS Rajamouli was like, well, we're only getting one, so we got to get the important one. But it is a shame that such a badass female character largely got sidelined to like 2 lines.
Right. And then like they made good use of the narration in the first half to really just kind of give you the context of what was happening, but it's that age-old thing of show don't tell. So a lot was just being told rather than being shown, and that was a little bit frustrating, especially when you know like how deep the story beats are and all of that. And so as a viewer who is familiar with the 2 movies together, you're just kind of like, something feels lacking in the first half, but then the second half kicks in.
Oh my gosh, the second half, but that's basically just the second movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like a lot of the first half up to intermission is just, we got to get to the second movie, we got to get to the meat and potatoes of this thing, but we've got to give enough context to understand why we're here. And then once we got back from that intermission, which, fun experience to experience a proper Indian movie intermission. I haven't actually done that because, again, I don't get to see them in theaters all that often. Usually when we're watching them in the studio, they're just like brief flash of intermission and then we go into the second half. So that was a fun experience. But once we got to past that intermission, I was immediately like leaned in, I was cheering, I was clapping. It had all of the really epic beats from that whole second film that just absolutely hummed. And so it was nice to kind of feel that revitalization, but it's disappointing that it took like gutting the first movie to get to that.
Right. I wonder as well. I mean, I would love to kind of chat to friends who just watched Baahubali the Epic and have that be their first experience, and then see what they feel. Like if they feel like something's missing in the first half, or if some context or emotional context is missing, because we are biased because we've seen the 2 movies. And so let us know if you would be interested in having one of our other hosts who haven't seen. Oh shit, I just missed my exit. Fine, we'll figure it out. Yeah, come on, catch up. Oh shit.
Oh god.
Missed the second. Okay, I'll go on the next one. It's got to be this, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be the next one.
So anyway, I would, if you guys want to see like what other people who haven't seen it think about it, if you want to see that reaction, like, let us know.
Oh god, I got totally distracted by driving down different roads and different things. Anyway,
by getting lost.
Yeah, by getting lost. Yeah. So I think in full summation, it's a great way to, it's an excellent taster for what the Baahubali story and what the Baahubali movies are. I think it loses something in the effort to truncate it, but we still left feeling very excited and very thrilled because that second half just, it really sings. So
yeah.
If you're willing to sit through, especially diehard fans of the original release of the films, if you're willing to sit through the truncated part, definitely worth your time.
Yeah, and I think it's just a fun way to revisit the movie if you don't really want to watch 2 of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's the standard edition Lord of the Rings versus the extended edition. Each are their own experience, and if you're a diehard fan, you're gonna love them either way. It's just, you gotta decide what you're really feeling, I guess, in that watch of whatever you want to watch. It's kind of the thing. So thank you guys so much for hanging out in the car with us. I'm gonna put the camera away so Achara can get us home all the way. Y'all have an excellent day. I have been Michael BOOSE. This is
Achara KIRK.
Take it easy, y'all.